Hi guys, Victoria here from Bumblebeans. Look what I have up on my wall today. Double-edged love. I know there was a bunch of people who wanted to have a little bit more information about the quilt. If you happen to see the American Quilter magazine, let me grab that. This issue, there's a really nice article on it on page 86, and it kind of talks a lot about, how the quilt came to be. I thought I would just hop up and show you for a second and talk a little bit about it. If you see, well, first of all, it was the Modern Quilt Guild Challenge. The category for this quilt is modern traditionalism. So my challenge was actually to use the rules that the Modern Quilt Guild defines as what is modern. So one of the things they do is talking a lot about using negative space. So when I started thinking about what it was I was going to do, I was thinking about, first of all, my fabric choices. The colored fabrics were given to me by Jay McCarroll. And that was the first thing I did, was to look at those fabrics individually and think about how I could play on the negative space just within the fabrics themselves. So I actually made a complete quilt top just out of his fabrics, and inserting all the black that you see in those background pieces. So everything that you see within the circles where the black lines are, all of this is pieced within those shapes, including all these little tiny pieces. So this isn't just all fabric back here. These are all little pieces of fabric spliced into the different prints that were in Jay McCarroll's Center City line. And at the same time, when I was thinking about modern and traditionalism, I'm thinking about, where I came from, where I am now. I'm a farm girl in the middle of Minnesota, and I'm living in the Big Apple, and I'm thinking about, first of all, earth and patches of earth and the farmland, and kind of how that even relates to what the city grid looks like. And obviously I'm a block or two from Times Square, and there's this chaos of all the people and the traffic going this way and that way, and just that kind of motion itself made me think that the double wedding ring, this was the pattern I needed to do for this challenge. So again, back to the Modern Quilt Guild's concept of what they think modern quilting is and dealing with the negative space. I was looking at the traditional pattern of a double wedding ring and how I could blow that out so that part of the pattern disappears and other parts of the pattern of the modern fabrics themselves are pushing forward, and directly relating to me being from the farm and living in the city, the past and the present, old and new, modern and traditional, and just sort of melding all of those ideas together into one thing. So that's kind of how I got this quilt together. And so after I got the quilt top together, I sent it off to Lisa Sipes because, as I've said it before, I think I'm a novice as far as free motion quilting goes. That cracks me up. Okay. I do machine quilting. I do quilt a bunch of my quilts. I don't quilt all of them because I do produce a lot of quilts. I can't keep up on them all. So this particular one was really special to me, and I didn't think I could do it justice on the quilting. So I sent it to Lisa and said, hey, you want to rock this out? Do your thing. And that's what she did. She had full control over what she did on this. She did some amazing quilting on here, single edge, triple edge, little squares, kind of like a plaid and pebbles and straight lining. And once I got it back from her and saw what she had done, I went back in because I was still thinking about this sort of mixture between the country and the city, and roads and traffic and dotted lines, which got me to the point of going back and doing some hand stitching, and that's where I added the black slow stitch into the quilt. And even at that point, I was looking at the circles within the quilt, and I went back and I appliqued little circles over inside the quilts too. They could represent people, they could represent movement, they can just add another texture to the whole thing. That's kind of what I was going for on this quilt. And I know it hasn't been easy to see it on the videos or some of the magazines, so I thought I would just talk about it a little bit, so maybe that would give you an idea. And I was going to take it down, but I have something else behind it, and the whole thing's going to fall down if I do that. So I will post some more pictures, details of the quilt, and that's kind of the story behind the project. So I had a lot of really cool moments when I was doing this quilt. I didn't really know that other people were going to think it was kind of cool. I've seen a few comments online where people are like, I don't get it, it doesn't look good. That's fine. I'm totally okay with that. But as far as process goes for me, this quilt just sent me to a whole nother level. And I think my work completely changed after I took on this challenge. And I had a lot of more ideas popping off in my head, and I'm going to do a whole series on these because I just totally love the concept of, it's almost more like the paintings that I used to do. Um, Building something up, taking it down, wiping stuff away, working the paint as hard as I can. That's what it feels like when I'm making a quilt like this. So generally, I've had some really nice responses. I thank you for all the nice comments. I absolutely love the quilt. It doesn't make any difference to me if you like it or not. I love it. And that's what it's about, right? Process, making, being happy with what you've done. I'm thrilled. So thanks for listening. Have a great day. I'll talk to you guys later. Ha.